Okay, do you know what I am? I am excited. I am so excited. I can't believe this is actually happening. Hello, bonjour, ciao, and welcome back to my channel. If you guys don't know me already, I'm Tolu and I'm a first year medical student at the University of Oxford. And I am so happy right now. I am over the moon. And the reason being is because I have a new camera. I got myself a new camera because I thought I should treat myself finally. And I just wanted to be able to make content that had better quality videos. So I got myself a new camera. I also wanted to have decent lighting in my videos too, so I bought myself a ring light because I wanted to actually properly commit to this whole YouTube thing, and in order for me to actually do that, I had to make sure that I had the resources that I needed to make the best quality videos that I thought I could achieve, and that was through getting my camera and getting my ring light. So I'm really happy with that. Hey, this is editing Tolu. I've realised that ring light and glasses, not a great combo, so sorry if you see a glare in the lens. Enjoy the rest of the video. And if you guys have had, if you've seen my videos before as well, you'll notice that the setup's a little bit different as well. And that's because I am now back at home. I have finished my second term and I'm on holiday, or vacation as we call it at Oxford. So I'm literally at home studying, and I'm trying to make the best out of what is happening currently right now in the world. I know it's quite difficult at times, I know it's quite stressful, but I'm honestly just trying my best to think positively and to do what I can to keep me going and to keep me coping and keep me sane. So I will hopefully even make some more videos based off of that, because it can be quite isolating at times, but I'm just trying to work my way through life one day at a time, I guess, and hopefully I can give you guys some tips on what I'm doing and how you can sort of do that as well in your own lives, just to help you out a little bit. But yeah, new background because I'm in my room now, got a new setup, and hopefully this is where I film more videos because I'm gonna be home for a while. Yay! But anyway, onto the video, and I just wanted to talk about how I found my second term at Oxford. So at Oxford we call the second term of the year Hilary term. No clue why. Look it up. I won't look it up this time because I really just don't care. Hey, it's editing Tolu again, and guess what? I did look it up. Basically it's called Hilary term because apparently it is named after the feast day of St. Hilary of Poitiers, I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah, that event falls during this time of term. But second term is called Hilary term, and our terms at Oxford are short. They are so short. They are 8 weeks long, and I have friends who are at uni for 12 weeks at a time, so 8 weeks, that's only 2 months to get a lot of work done, and it's so exhilarating, but it's also a lot of work, and it can be very stressful at times, as I'll explain in a little bit more detail in a bit. But second term, honestly, overall it was a great term. I really loved it, I really enjoyed it, but Hilary term really got to me at times. It really stressed me out at times, but because of my friends and the support mechanisms in place at Oxford, I was able to sort of, you know, roll through with it. So 8 weeks. I mean, if you include the very first week, 9 weeks, but technically 8 weeks, because that's when we get our lectures and our tutorials and everything sort of sorted. But we began middle of January. I don't even remember what date we moved in, but it was sometime in the middle of January, and I had repacked my stuff to get ready and I was on my way to Oxford, and I got back into my room, set up my room on the very first day, got it exactly how it was when I ended the first term, which is Michaelmas term, because I, silly enough, had taken photos of every single part of my room so I could put everything exactly where it was the last time, because that would have just irked me if I hadn't. But that was great. Setting up my room took a very long time, longer than it did when I first set it up, but I got all of my stuff sorted, which was amazing, and everything was pretty much almost exactly the same as how it was when I started Michaelmas term, which was the first term. Then that first day was just me being reunited with my friends, so just cutting down the hours throughout the days when more of my friends would arrive, and then we just have a chat and giggle and just catch up on what we had missed, or what we had like missed from each other over the vacation. So that was really nice to sort of catch up and reminisce on all the things that we'd done in Michaelmas term, and sort of catch up with my friends to see what they did over the vacation as well, because I had gone on holiday, some of my friends stayed at home, some of them went on holiday, so it was just really nice being able to talk to them again and see what they had gotten up to over the vacation, because we were back together, we were reunited, and that was a really great moment for me. And throughout that first week, we call it 0th week, 0th week, week 0, because it doesn't really go towards lectures and stuff, but that first week, so week 0, is supposed to be spent, you know, settling down and getting your bearings again, because you've just come back from the vacation and you're just gonna go straight into Oxford again. But I actually didn't even stay in Oxford for all of week 0, because yeah, I went on a getaway somewhere up north, I think it was, yeah, to sort of connect with God, read some scriptures, and sort of engage and have fun with my fellow Christian friends at uni. And that for me was a really heartfelt and lovely 3 days to get away, because I was able to sort of find peace and sort of be able to meditate and calm down before the hectic term had begun. So for me, going on that getaway was a really amazing moment. Made loads of new friends as well, took loads of pictures, which was really cool, and just really resonated with my faith, and that was something that I will never ever take for granted again. But after that getaway, the work properly began, because not only is week 0 a week where you're supposed to sort of settle in, it's also the week where we have something called collections, and collections are basically mock exams. I was told that I shouldn't worry about these collections, that they don't really go towards anything. I took that advice a bit too seriously, and I did the bare minimum in terms of preparing for my collections. The term before, we were told what the collections would entail, so we would have 3 essays to write in about 2 hours, based off of the things that we'd covered in tutorials in the previous term. So those would be aspects like muscles, action potentials, things to do with anatomy, so the spine, embryology, all of those aspects that we had already covered in our tutorials. But I hadn't gone through them as detailed as I usually would if I was properly revising for an exam, because in the back of my mind I was like, they don't matter, I don't need to worry too much. But yeah, looking back at it now, I was a fool. Boo-boo the fool. Clown. Me, a clown. Because I should have put in a little bit more effort, because the results I got at the end of them were not as I had initially hoped they would be. They weren't bad, but I knew I could have done better. So looking back at it now, for any other collections that we have in the future, I am going to properly revise for them. Like, properly revise. There's nothing more to say. I'm just going to properly revise with those collections. So that was on the Friday of its 0th week. So the day I came back from the getaway, I just spent revising, like going over stuff, just making sure that I had sort of some things in my mind and ready. But I remember really focusing on one aspect, which was the spine, because I knew I had made like really nice notes on the spine before, so I was hoping that I would get a spine essay, and luckily enough I did get a spine essay in my collections. So I don't know, it was okay, but I just knew I could have done better, and I know for the future I'm just definitely going to pattern myself and make sure I do better. But that was collection week. After those collections were done, we were just all like chilling, because there wasn't really anything else we could really do until we got our timetables back. So we just hung out, met up with our friends from other colleges as well. I go to Keble College if you didn't know already, and yeah, we just went from there. So then we get into the nitty-gritty. We properly begin term. We start off with week 1 when we finally get our lectures and we go over new topics. So the focus of the first couple of weeks of term were based off of the cardiovascular system. So that's the heart. So we spoke about the structure of the heart, what it comprises of, its anatomy, how it works, and then we went over like aspects to do with just the heart in general. So the embryology of the heart, how it develops, how it starts from a heart field and how it develops into the primitive heart tube, and how it folds and does all this other stuff. So that was the focus of the start of our term. Then we went over to do the physics behind the heart and how it works, so how it works as a pump, how blood pumps around the body, how vessels work, how vasoconstriction, so like the narrowing and the dilating of blood vessels work, etc. So that was a really heavy focus of our term. And on the other side, because we have so many things going on at once when it comes to lectures, so we were covering the heart, then we were covering the endocrine system, so that's all about the secretion of hormones and stuff. So we covered the pituitary gland, the adrenal glands, the thyroid glands. What else did we cover? I don't remember. The pancreas! We covered the pancreas as well. So we just covered different endocrine organs and hormones and went over a lot of details in regards to that. And alongside our lectures, we also had tutorials to help accompany what we had learned in those lectures. So one of our tutors has a really major focus on the cardiovascular system, even much so that he has written the textbook about it. So the textbook that we use to sort of write our essays and everything is his textbook, which is so weird because whenever he sets us an essay, we're literally writing what he's written in his textbook, which is, you know, a flex, but okay, we move. Which is really handy as well because he knows the insides and outs of everything that has to happen with it, like within that subject, which for us is beneficial in my college, but others still okay because the lectures that we've had for those topics have been amazing as well. So that was really handy. So lectures aside, they're fine, they're easy. Well, they're not easy, I'm not gonna lie, they're not easy. But because I had familiarised myself with the layout and structured lectures from the previous term, I had like gotten used to what I needed to do. So I knew that when I had done a lecture, ideally as quickly as possible or whenever I had the time, I'd make my notes in regards to those subjects. So I make my notes on a book called The Rocket Book because I didn't want to fork out money on getting an iPad when I like wanted to see what else I could use that money for. So I bought myself a Rocket Book and I will show you it right here. It's literally in front of me. Oh my gosh, I just literally knocked over everything. But yeah, this is the Rocket Book and I will make a video on this Rocket Book in the near future because I found it so useful to make mine. Ooh, focus, cool. So yeah, I bought myself a Rocket Book and I honestly found it so helpful because I make my notes best when I do it by hand, and this Rocket Book actually allows me to continue to make my notes by hand but also not worry about wasting paper too much, because the aim of a Rocket Book is that you can write up your notes if it wants to, you know, you can write up your notes on whatever topic. So I had currently made notes on cellular metabolism, and then using your phone, get an app, you just scan it in and it uploads onto your computer, and that way I don't have to waste paper because when I'm done with these pages, all I need to do is get a wet cloth, wipe it down, and I can start it afresh. So I've just made notes recently on cellular metabolism and it's like all on my computer and stuff, which is really handy, so I can still draw my stuff out and still make my notes by hand because that's the best way for me to make my notes and learn. And yeah, I just really loved it a lot. So that's the Rocket Book and I'll make a video on that in the future maybe. But yeah, I would yeah, just make my notes as regularly as I could, and that was always kind of difficult for me because not only did I have to make lecture notes, I had to sort of prepare for my tutorials and write my essays for my tutorials. So if you guys are unaware of what tutorials are, they are sort of like more intimate ways of learning your subject. So you have a professional within your field sort of sitting down with a group of a couple of people in your class explaining what you're doing now. So let's say we were covering lectures, covering the heart in our lectures. In specific, more specifically, we were covering the embryology of the heart. Let's say we're covering the embryology of the heart. We'd go over things within the lecture that would be like the core principles of our syllabus, but then we'd have a tutorial based off of the embryology of the heart with a little bit more detail. So that would be the more extensive parts of the syllabus that you don't you don't need to know, but it would be really handy to have in your exams and like in the summer. So we'd have tutorials based off of that, and it depends on your tutor how regularly you see them. But we have, in my college, we have quite a few tutors who specialise in specific subjects. So we've got an embryology tutor, we've got 2 anatomy tutors who go over like clinical details with us, show us some radiology imaging, which is great. I've got a physiology and pharmacology tutor who specialises on the heart, the muscles, anything to do with that aspect. And we've got tutors who specialise in metabolism, so that will be biochemistry, tutors who specialise in medical genetics as well. So at my college we're very lucky because we have a load of people available to help us out within our work. But having all of those tutors, it's great, but it's also very stressful because all of those tutors will eventually set us essays to do within our term. So we could have, depending on like our tutors' moods, we'd have maybe 2 essays a week, and balancing lectures and making lecture notes and preparing for tutorials and having your social life and then preparing for essays, it can be quite a lot. Sometimes it'd be a lot more stressful than anticipated because I'd have so much in one week that I'd have to balance. But support of my peers at my college was really handy because we sometimes work together to make notes on stuff, or I'd sort of figure out a timetable for myself for that week ahead so I knew how to plan my time well. So usually for me, when it comes to writing essays, it'd take me a day to sort of plan said essay. So I'd have to go over a couple of textbooks, a couple of videos, through the lectures, sort of teach myself the content so that when I was writing out the essay I actually understood what I was writing, because there's no point me just regurgitating a textbook if I don't understand it, because I'd have to eventually write an essay on it maybe in my exams in the summer. So I really wanted to make sure that I understood what I was writing first, made notes on it, and then maybe the day after or a few days after I would then write up the essay using my plan, using the images I'd included in my plan, and so on. So that for me was really handy and really helpful. And it got me through the term, so I'm really grateful for that, because me finding my own technique and structure was really beneficial, and I'd really advise you guys to do the same. So find something that works with yourself, that helps you make sure you get all the work done that needs to be done on time. So that for me was how it worked, but for other people it may not be the best. But yeah, just find your bearings and find what works for you, and that's really ideal. So like academics aside, that was generally fine for me because I had sort of, I'm the kind of person who doesn't like to stress too much, so I'll sort of go with the flow. If I needed any help, I would sort of talk to my talk to the second year medics. I talked to my college dad because my college dad does my subject. And why is my voice going? Yay. So I talked to my college parents, or my college dad in particular, asking for help if he had any help, if he had like any advice on anything that I was sort of confused or struggling with, which was really, really handy. And that's what I really love about Oxford, is the whole college family system, because you've got other students who are sort of there to sort of help you sort of find your bearings, help you with your academics and stuff, which makes it really, really reassuring, because sometimes talking to your tutors can be a bit long, but talking to like a peer from the year above or something is really just handy. And I'm so in love with that concept that yeah, it's just really, really nice thing to have. But saying that, you can also talk to your tutors as well, because they are there to support you and help you. So this is the part where I go into a bit more detail about how I didn't necessarily enjoy Hilary as much. For me personally, the first half of Hilary term was so emotionally draining. I felt so low and so anxious a lot of the times during the first half of Hilary term. And it was very difficult for me, I'm not gonna lie. It was really a really hard time for me, and there were times where I was honestly considering like dropping out. I know it sounds really extreme, but my mental health and my emotional well-being at that time was at an all-time low, and it definitely affected me in terms of like how I was able to do my work, which I think my tutors kind of noticed, because sometimes like my performance compared to how I was at in the first term was not how I was at the start of Hilary, and like it got to the point where I remember for one essay I had to write in, like I just wasn't feeling it at all. I just wasn't feeling like doing anything at all for that essay. So I left it very last minute because I just didn't have the strength to sort of do the essay, but that was just because of reasons I'll go on in a bit more detail in a bit. But like I just couldn't, like I just knew in my heart that I just couldn't do that essay. So I remember trying my best to do as much as I could, because I couldn't just not submit work. So I remember like handwriting a note at the bottom of it in pencil being like, hi, I'm really sorry about this essay. I know it's really poor, but I've just had a really awful week this week. I hope you can understand. Because I knew in my heart that that wasn't my best work, and I didn't want my tutor to feel like I was slacking, because I really wasn't. So I just had to like let them know that I was feeling very under the weather. So I definitely took that on board, and it got to the point where I was so low that I just had to email our head tutor for our subject, telling him that I had been feeling under the weather for a very long time, and that I didn't know what to do. I didn't really know who to reach out to. I knew like who could support me, but I needed more help, because I couldn't necessarily have to go. I didn't want to be able to go through these things alone. But I'm so happy that I did email my tutor, because he recommended meeting up with him, talking to him about how I was feeling, seeing if there were any alternatives that they could sort of do for me. And I am honestly so grateful that I had my tutor to be able to offer that out to me, because I feel like if I hadn't reached out to him, then I definitely would have like sunk a little bit lower than I was at the time. Yeah, that was a really rough part for me, but I'm so truly grateful for my tutors, because they really supported me when I was feeling really low. So if they are watching this, really doubt that they are, just know that I'm very grateful for your support, because I definitely needed it at that moment in time during Hilary term. But after that sort of phase passed, I ended up feeling a lot better. I had surrounded myself with friends even more, gone out more, which again I'll go over in a little bit more detail in a bit, but I honestly felt so at ease and so at peace, because I had finally admitted that I needed help. Because I'm the kind of person, I'm a very stubborn person, so I don't like to admit when I need help sometimes, but I had finally reached out to someone and yeah, got the help that I needed. But the reason for my stress was that I was overworking myself too much, and that's kind of like, for an Oxford student you're always working hard, but for relative to me, I had overworked myself way too much. I had committed to a few things, not even a few things, I had committed to too many things, because I wanted to get as much out of the Oxford experience as I would have hoped to, but that didn't go to plan. So for me, I tried to take up rowing, because in school we had erg machines, and my teacher would always be like, yo Tolu, you should come to rowing club, practice your erging, build up your stamina. And for me, erging was great, it was fun, and I wanted to take that up again when I got to Oxford. So I had started joining rowing club, so that would be me waking up really early in the morning to do training, and I really enjoyed the training aspects of things. But then I was told that I had to do a swim test, and for me, I thought, hey, that's not too bad, that should be okay. Boy, I was wrong. I was really, really wrong, because I realised I hadn't swam, I hadn't touched the water in 10 years. And people are always like, when you learn to swim, you'll never forget. It's true to an extent. I remember going into the pool, my body kind of knew what to do, but it wasn't doing it efficiently enough for me to like get through it. So me trying to prepare for that swim test took a major toll on my mental health. Hey, hi, this is Editing Tolu again. Basically, the camera has just stopped recording. I'm still trying to figure out how it works, so I'm sorry for this little jump cut. But yeah, keep watching. I don't know why this stopped, so I am so confused. Yeah, I don't know why it stopped. Anyway, continuing on. So where was I? Oh, swimming. So I sort of took the decision to stop, because I had pushed myself so much to sort of try and work on my swimming, and it just wasn't working out. So I just stopped, because I knew that if I had continued to keep going, that I would work myself so much that it will take a physical toll on my body, and I didn't want that. So I just knew when to stop, and I'm really happy that I did stop, because it made me a lot happier, as bad as it sounds. So yeah, I was overworking myself way too much in that aspect, so me stopping kind of helped relieve the stresses of everything, which was really handy. But yeah, I was kind of sad that I had to stop, because I really wanted to work on my rowing, but we move, life goes on. But in order to sort of like still keep me busy, because I didn't want to didn't want to do nothing, I just took that time to sort of go out of my way and leave college more, because Keble is a great college, but it's not by force stay there all the time. So if I had a lecture, it wasn't necessary for me to have to go back to college and do my work there. So I sort of make the effort and see my friends from other colleges. So I've got friends from Mansfield, from Johns, from like all sorts of places. So I'd, after my lectures or if I was like free, I'd just go pop in to visit them so I could socialise and just not be by myself at college. So I'd bring my work over to them, I'd chill with them. We'd order in food from like Nando's or something. Like I did that like 5 times with my friends, just to sort of be with them, so I wasn't really alone during term, which was really handy. Or like even within college, I'd go to my friends' room so I wasn't stuck in my own room. And this term, I'm so happy to say, I really found more amazing new friends within my staircase. I like spoke to people in my staircase regularly, but this term I took it to another level and I've bonded with them so much. My staircase, I am in love with you guys. If you're seeing this, love you loads. I've connected with them so much and I'm so happy that I did, because last term I realised that I stuck with the medics a lot, like a lot, and I'm going to be with the medics for the next 5 years in a term, so I don't have to spend every single moment of my time with the medics. So I this term spent more time with my staircase, and it was just really really just nice to be able to go back to a different group of friends or different people and still be able to have such an amazing time with them. So I'm so grateful for them. So if you're watching this, again, I love you guys so much. So that was meeting friends from other colleges, hanging out with my staircase, hanging out with the medics still because I still love them to bits, and just hanging out with multiple people because I'm a social person. I really like engaging with other humans. I'm a social junkie, believe it or not. So much so that my friends started teasing me and calling me a B-knock, which stands the big name on campus. And that was purely because I'm just a very social person. I like talking to a lot of people. So like if I just spent more time with my friends, and doing that as well, I ended up going out more as well. So more club nights, more dinners, more formals, more events, because I just wanted to get myself out there. I didn't want to be cooped up in my room alone, and I really took that by full swing during Hilary term. And this time as well, more of my friends from home came to visit. So my best friend from home visited me during the Valentine's Day weekend, so we could have our Galentine's Day together, because sometimes when you feel homesick you just want to have a friend from home come over to visit you. So she came over to visit, and that coincidentally was the time that the medics had something called a crew date. So we had sort of like a dinner with drinks and games together with like quite a few other medics, and that was really fun as well because I got to introduce my friend from home to my friends at uni. And what else did I get up to this term? This term I actually dressed up a lot more often. So in our college we have some like parties called BOPs, they stand for big open parties. So we had loads of interesting themes this term because we had a new ENTS group ENTS representatives. So we had a pajama party, and that was a really great time. So we literally all went out in our pajamas and had a really amazing time. Another BOP theme that we had was where you see yourself in 10 years. And I'm going to include some photos of like what we did during these BOPs because I really tried for my costumes. I really put in the effort, and I hope you guys appreciate the effort that I put in. So the pajama party and where you see yourself in 10 years. That BOP, I almost didn't make it because I was very sick the weekend before. But I was like, you know what? FOMO, fear of missing out. I didn't want to be in my room by myself when all of my friends were having fun at the BOP. So I pushed myself and I dressed up. I didn't put in that much effort, but when you see the photos, so where I see myself in 10 years, hopefully, my stomach's not in the shot, but yeah, you'll see in the photos, basically pregnant. as a joke, and that was great. That was a really fun bop idea. And then the last bop of term was based off of arts, because we had a Keeble Arts Festival where we embraced some people's artwork, some poetry, all sorts of things. And that bop theme was Art Attack, and that's where I took my makeup skills to the test. So I wanted to do a sort of like a nice little rainbow effect on my eyes, and you'll see some photos as well. It's on my Instagram too. So I really practiced what I had. So I brought out my Morphe palette, brought out my makeup brushes, and I literally did a rainbow around my eyes, and it actually worked. And I'm really happy that it worked, because I don't really do much makeup. My staircase really pulled out the stops when it came to the art, Art Attack theme. All sorts were happening. Oh, it was bliss. It was amazing, and I'm so grateful that they pulled out the stops, because bops are only fun when you put in the effort, and my staircase put in the effort. So I'm so grateful that they did, because we looked amazing, we looked great, and I can't say anything more than that. But yeah, I'm so happy that this term I actually just took in the time to go out and enjoy myself a little bit more. Like, I connected with other years as well, which was amazing. So we had within the ACS, so the Afro-Caribbean Society held a lot of events too, which was really, really cool. One of which was an ACS formal dinner where I got to dress up in a really nice pretty dress and do my makeup again. My go-to makeup look when I'm going out and I don't wear my glasses is it's literally just a little bit of colour in the corner of my eyes. And I was bullied by my friends. They would call me Rafiki. Do you know who Rafiki is? Rafiki is the monkey from The Lion King who raises Simba. And because of the makeup looks I did, my friends would call me Rafiki. Let a girl live. Why must you attack me? But yeah, they would tease me about being called Rafiki, which, whatever, do what you need to do. Rafiki, I enjoyed that evening, and yeah, I'll include some more photos of that in there too. But I'm gonna like take a quick look at my phone and see what else we actually did, because Hilary term was like intense. There was a lot going on in that term, and my phone's like in front of me here, so apologies. Oh, I didn't only go to bops in my college, I went to other people's bops as well. Again, me broadening my horizons and meeting other people. So my friends from Pembroke had a bop, and their theme was yoga versus toga. I chose yoga, my friends chose toga. So there was me in my gym outfit, my sports bra, my leggings, and they had bed sheets around them to replicate togas, and it was a really fun bop. I'm not gonna lie, it was a really fun bop. And like, just moments like that just was so great, because I really enjoyed myself. I really took myself out for and just made the best of the situation I had in Hilary term, and that honestly for me sort of, it made me forget how low I was at the start of term, and I'm so grateful for that. What else happened? So we also had my staircase for the arts festival had some clay making sessions where we had to make each other out of clay. I am not an artist. The clay making made me realise I am not an artist. I had to make a portrait of my friend. She's a fringe, she's got a nose ring. You know, classic features that would make her really identifiable if I made a good clay portrait or clay model of her. That did not work. Instead, I recreated Owen Wilson. I tried my best, but I basically created Owen Wilson. But we move, because she knew I had tried my best, and that's what matters the most. Again, I am not an artist, but I tried my best. This is editing Tolu for the very last time. I forgot to mention that I also joined the gospel choir, so the Asida Gospel Choir, and we had an amazing performance in the last week of term, which I am so glad to be a part of. I also met the likes of Eve Bennett and Rosie and Manny, and I made a lot more amazing friends this term too, so I can't believe I didn't mention that in the original video. And yeah, I don't even remember what else to talk about, but I really enjoyed this term. Hilary term in comparison to Michaelmas term, a million levels higher. Thank you, camera, thank you for focusing. But Hilary term was honestly, she was amazing. And I remember before starting term that my slogan would be Hot Girl Hilary. Hot Girl Hilary happened. Maybe not for the first half of term, but Hot Girl Hilary, wholesome Hilary, it happened, it worked out, and it worked out well, and I am so happy. I am literally sat here ecstatic, over the moon, and I'm blessed that I was able to be a part of that experience. And one thing I was really looking forward to was what more I could do in Trinity term. But right now, who knows if Trinity term's even happening? Because even within all the stuff that happened with Hilary, there was a lot of stuff going on around the world. COVID-19. A lot has happened since Hilary term, and even now when I'm filming this video, I have been at home for ages, and yeah, we'll see what happens in the future. But for now, Hilary term was amazing, and I am so glad that I was able to sort of put myself out there, do more things, experience more things, because that's what matters most. Just making the best out of Oxford while I have it. I mean, I'm here for 6 years, but just doing as much as possible, because that's what really matters most. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Stay tuned for more videos that I've got coming up soon as well. And like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video on my new camera with like better camera quality and everything, and I just can't wait to just make more videos in the future. Thank you so much for supporting me and just being a part of my journey, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.